Hey, welcome back. On my way home, I am Miss Mandy, and today is part 2 of a 3-part video series on money habits. Specifically, my money habits, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yesterday's video was all about the good money habits I've had and their impact on my finances up to this point. Today is the bad money habits, not the really bad, ugly ones. I'm saving for tomorrow, including how I got myself in over $100,000. Yeah, I said $100,000 worth of debt, but that's for tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Today's just the mediocre bad ones. Not so bad, but not so great either. Could have made better choices. At least that's what I'm telling myself. Before I get into it, don't forget to click the like button to help out my channel. Thank you very much. And the first money habit, the first bad money habit I want to talk about is saving to spend. I said yesterday, I'm a natural saver. It is in my blood. I love to save money, but I listed that as one of my good habits, right? So why is saving to spend bad? I thought saving money was good. Well, it's really all about what you spend your money on. If you're saving to spend like the wealthy do, that's great. But if you're saving to spend like we did when I was growing up, that could be better. Not bad, but could be better. So when I was growing up, this is the pattern that I learned. We would save up a little money or come into a little money for some reason, and then we would spend it on things that we needed or wanted, like a vacation or home upgrades, new appliances, new furniture, new carpet, that kind of things. And that's great because you're not going into debt to buy those things. You're saving up for them or, paying cash for them in some way, shape, or form. And that's awesome because you don't want to go into debt for those kind of things. But that's not how the wealthy spend their money. The wealthy, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again here, the wealthy use their money, their income money, to buy assets that cash flow. And from that cash flow, they pay for their lifestyle. They don't use their income to pay for their lifestyle, for their expenses. They use the cash flow from assets to pay for their expenses. And that is called economic independence. And if you're not doing it like that, then, when you spend your money's gone, right? And if you're spending it on something that probably won't give you any money in the future, that's never going to get you to a point of wealth. I'm going to tell you a little story. So I said yesterday, I got my first job when I was 16 years old. Co-op through my high school business program. I got to leave a little bit early, use my study hall and leave a little bit early, and I went to work. So from 2 to 5 every day, I would go to work. And for the first time in my life, I had a little bit of money. And being a natural saver like I am, I would watch it, build up in my bank account. That's just where I stashed it away. I didn't have anything I wanted to spend it on at the time. Well, I did that for a couple of years, and graduation rolled around, and I thought, wow, I made it. I am in college. This is the time to treat myself. This is the time to spend my money. And what did I want to spend it on? I went down to our Apple store, and I got myself one of the first generation iPads. And I felt awesome. I felt so cool strutting around campus with that thing in my backpack. I pulled it out for notes. I bought a little Bluetooth keyboard so I could type while everybody else was on their big clunky laptops. I had my teeny weeny little iPad sitting there. And I felt amazing having that in my life. But as with all technology, you know what happens. After a while, the battery started to go, and it went through so many updates as they were developing newer and better iPads that it started to slow down in the processing department, and then it started to malfunction, and eventually it just stopped working altogether. So that's why. That right there is why saving to spend is a bad money habit. Because instead of putting my money into something that was going to give me an asset or give me cash flow, I put my money into something that not only decreased in value, but decreased in utility for me over time in just a few years. So what could have I done differently? There's a couple things I really wish I would have done with my money. One of which is just save it and use it for my college tuition. It would have kept me from being in so much debt, and that's never a bad thing, right? You want to be in less debt, right? But what I really wish I would have done with it, I wish I would have invested in real estate, because I graduated in 2008, and if you know anything about real estate, you know that 2008 was a pretty bad year for real estate. Housing prices were way, way down, and it was because a bubble had just burst in the market. a bubble like they had never seen before in the market. So houses were so cheap. And if I had played my cards right, I could have used that couple $1,000s that I had saved up, a couple $1,000s that I spent on an iPad. I could have instead used that to put a down payment on a cash flowing rental property. And oh my gosh, the regret is real. I really wish I would have done that, because it would have really set me up for a new mindset and a new kind of lifestyle where I was getting paid like the wealthy. But I didn't do that. So hindsight's 2020. We're getting there now. The second bad money habit I want to talk about is chronic budget cutting, or being miserly. I said that one of my best money habits was budgeting, being able to budget. So what gives? Where this one goes wrong is when you cut too much or too often, or both. Now, let's just think of it like this. You stop every morning on your way to work and you get a donut. And it's like the highlight of your day. You get a donut, you get a coffee, you sit in your car and you eat it, and it's so sweet and so delicious. The coffee washes it down just perfect, and that's the greatest start to your day. That's how you make your mood good for the day. And you feel ready to face anything after that. Well, the new year rolls around, and like everybody does, you make a New Year's resolution. You want to get a little healthier. You want to lose a little weight. So you decide, no more donut, ever. I'm stopping my donut habit now. It ends here. You cut it cold turkey. Well, that first day goes by fine. You feel good about yourself. That second day goes by fine. You feel pretty good about yourself. And then that third day comes and you think, oh man, I really want a donut this morning. I'm tired. I need that sugar boost. I got my coffee, but it's just not quite going down the same. I need that donut. But no, I made this resolution and I'm going to stick to it. So maybe you stick to it for a week or maybe 2 weeks, and at some point you're going to realize, man, I really miss that donut, and it's going to be all that you can think about. And until you give in, it's going to be all that you can think about. And once you do give in, it's going to be so good, but you're going to feel so bad afterward. And that's exactly why this is a bad money habit, because elimination really just doesn't set you up for success. It doesn't work in dieting very well, and it doesn't work in budgeting very well either. It sets you up to be miserly. It sets you up to think that there's never enough. And you learn to be greedy because you feel like there's never enough. And you resent anyone who can't live the same way that you can. So, maybe you stop getting your donut, but your friend at work who sits right next to you, they haven't made any New Year's resolutions to get healthy, so they continue to get their donut. And they sit at their desk and they eat it right in front of you. And oh man, that just feels wrong, right? But it just is a bad way to go. It's a bad mindset, and it's not a way you can build wealth. Instead, I wish I would have learned specific marketable skills that are proven to pay more. I have a lot of regrets about school, and I'll probably get into that a little more tomorrow, but that would have been a better move. Instead of being miserly and being great at budget cutting, I wish I was better at creating income and creating value and having an abundant mindset versus a scarcity mindset. I will say that I know there are times in our lives when we have to be in survival mode. You lose a job unexpectedly, you go through a medical emergency or some other kind of emergency, and you have to do whatever you got to do just to survive, and you're treading water for a while. I'm not talking about those times in your life. Those are times when it's okay to cut budget if you have to. I'm talking about what I did, and what I'm really good at doing, which is cutting budget even when it's not necessary. Cutting budget because you feel like there's not enough. The third bad money habit I want to talk about is not spending any money. And this kind of goes hand in hand with budget cutting because it's the type of person I am. I told you that if it was up to me, I'd live off of nothing. I mean, I'd live in a hole in the ground, have no expenses, and I would be just fine with that. Probably wouldn't enjoy my life very much, but I'd be just fine with it. And that's why it's a bad money habit. When you defer the enjoyment of life so much that you're not even living, and it doesn't feel like you're living, now that's not a great way to live. If you're just, okay, let me put it this way. If it wasn't for my husband, I'd have I'd still be living in an apartment. I'd have no house. I'd be living in a sub-level apartment. And I'd have a car that was too small for our family and frustrating to get in and out of with our 5-person family now. And I'd have fewer memories. We wouldn't have taken any vacations. We wouldn't have had any trips to see family. We wouldn't have spent the money on gas to even go on daily outings or weekend outings like we do sometimes. And we wouldn't eat out at all. So I'd be missing out on a lot of memories. And you know what? Because we spent money on those things in the interim, even though we're not out of debt, and even though we haven't begun to build wealth yet, even though our income may not have gone up substantially over the past couple of years, because we bought the things that we did when we did, my life, my quality of life has been so much better. And I'm just learning. I'm just in the past couple years, actually in the past 6 months or so, learning the value of being able to spend money on the enjoyments in life. And the kind of mindset that gives you helps you build wealth. It helps you want to do and create more in order to build wealth. And especially as someone who has little kids, I've said before, they just really make you realize how fast time goes by. And I don't know about you, but I really want to enjoy those moments where they're still at my house, they're still little, they still really love me and want to spend time with me in any way that they can. So the 4th bad money habit is not building my credit. I had no idea how to build credit when I came of age, when I turned 18, or why I would even need it. I mean, like I said, I was making money at the time, so I thought, hey, I'm doing pretty good. I can just pay for the things that I need. I don't need a credit card. And I was actually really scared of credit because I've seen what it can do to people. And I was scared of not being able to afford things, and I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to be the person using credit because I wasn't able to afford things. I thought, I'm kind of better than that right now because I've got the money that I need from my income. Well, that I think was a big mistake, and it's because you need credit to get any kind of debt, and debt is a huge leveraging tool when you're building wealth. You can buy, you can use debt in your business to buy assets and pay back the debt and earn cash flow on top of it. So it is just a huge leveraging tool, and you need credit in order to use that leveraging tool. So when I got married, we inherited a credit card. Well, it was my husband's credit card, and I got my name put on it afterward, but we used it for expenses, and we used it for things that we wanted to do, and we used it, and we didn't really manage our money very well, and we racked up about $5,000 worth of credit card debt. And I don't remember if he or I was paying the bills at the time, but we had a late bill. It was a busy time of life. We usually paid our bills on time, but it was a busy time, and like I said, we weren't managing our money very well. So we had a late bill, and we went on vacation. My in-laws paid for that because we weren't making a lot of money at the time, and we went on vacation with them at their request. And I remember that one day we were at breakfast, and the phone rang. My husband's cell phone rang. Oops, don't want to turn there. My husband's cell phone rang, and he picked up the phone, and the longer he talks, the more worried his look gets, and the more worried I get because I don't like seeing him like that. And he hangs up the phone and tells me it was the credit card company calling to collect on our debt because we hadn't paid our bill. And I remember how worried he looked, and I remember how awful I felt because we had racked up a debt that we could not pay at that time. We couldn't make a payment from the boat. There was nothing we could do, and it bothered him. And because it bothered him, it bothered me, and I vowed right then and there, that was the start of this whole journey of us getting out of debt, of us starting to build wealth. That was the start of it, because I vowed right then and there that I was never going to let anybody call us and make him feel the way he felt that day, and make me feel the way I felt that day, because I wanted to protect him from that. So that didn't really do anything for me in the credit department. We're talking about building credit, remember? Instead, what it did was solidify my fear of credit because we didn't know how to use it. We were using it in 100 wrong ways instead of using it in the 100 right ways that businesses and people do in order to gain wealth. So after that, I got on board with Dave Ramsey, which was great because it taught us how to manage our money, but we didn't want anything to do with debt. I didn't want anything to do with debt for sure. And it's only just recently that we've trusted ourselves enough to get another credit card. And we've got a system in place that is a fail-safe so that we're always paying that credit card, just so we can build up our credit a little more. Now, what could I have done differently? I wish I would have started building my credit earlier. I wish I had a mindset that wasn't afraid of credit from the get-go, and I wish I had somebody who knew how to use credit in order to gain wealth that could have taught me those types of things. It is one of those things that by itself, it wouldn't have made a lot of difference in my financial situation, but paired with some of the other things I could have done, and the knowledge of how to use credit and use debt for assets versus liabilities, that would have been together a huge difference in my financial situation from then to now. And fifth and the last bad money habit I want to talk about today is having one source of cash flow, which is my active income. I have for 16 years, half of my life, traded my time for money working to build someone else's dream. And that has been the only source of income that I've had. And this is just one that we're just now starting to build out our way out of, because I said before, the wealthy don't do this. The wealthy buy assets. That's what pays them. And how do they do that? Well, they use their skills. Their skills are in, building wealth. Their skills are in, structuring deals or obtaining assets or businesses that pay them. And that's what I want to do with my money. And that's what we're starting to do. The better way is, to spend your money on investments that will then give you cash flow. You can have your active income, but also have cash flow from investments. I already said I would have bought a rental house if I had known then what I know now. Or I would have built a business as I was growing older through college. I've always wanted to own a business. When I was in high school, I wanted to do hair for prom, but I really wasn't very good at talking to people or networking or even selling myself. I didn't have a lot of confidence. And I never thought that was a thing that I lacked, but looking back now, I can see that I lacked a lot of confidence to do anything like that. But this is something we're doing now. We're starting to build a business. My husband wants to open a food truck, so we're taking the steps to get there. And he's using his marketable skills as a chef to, structure that side of it, while I'm using my skills, which I've only recently learned that my skills lie in management and, coordinating a bunch of moving parts, conducting the orchestra, so to speak. And that's where my skills are. And that's what we're using to build our wealth now and get out of this bad money habit of having one source of cash flow just from our active incomes. So there you have it. Those are 5 bad money habits that have impacted me poorly so far in the financial world, and how you can use them better and do better than I did. Now, I will say, don't be discouraged if you are steps behind me, because yes, it is a journey to get to this point, but making mistakes is part of that journey, and learning from those mistakes is even better, right? Because then you know how to fix things in the future when it happens. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm learning from my past mistakes and using it to my advantage. And once you start that momentum, it kind of just snowballs. And I love that. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow for part 3, the really ugly mistakes I have made with money that have had the worst financial impact on me to date. And I will see you then. Bye.